Generative AI feels like a series of juxtapositions. It has the potential to offer personalized learning for every student, give students access to just in time feedback, and make our work in school systems more efficient and effective. It may also reinforce bias, automate ineffective teaching practice, or compromise the privacy of learners and educators. These juxtapositions reflect the reality that generative AI is full of risk and possibilities, and it's important to be clear eyed about both as generative AI becomes increasingly ubiquitous in learning, work, and society. In this contributed talk, we will provide a high level overview of some of the risks and possibilities of generative AI. We will unpack some key terms that help ensure we are working from a common language, and we will walk through some of the work our team at Advanced Learning Partnerships has been doing with school systems in the US and Canada.
While we considered uploading our script to HeyGen to generate a video, we decided it would be better to show up as the most human versions of ourselves. I'm Julie Foss,
And I'm Terica Young.
and we represent a company called Advanced Learning Partnerships, which has had the privilege of serving alongside learning communities, navigating systems level change since 2010. Artificial intelligence refers to machines that have human-like intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been around for a long time, and you've probably encountered it in your everyday life long before you heard about ChatGPT. If you've ever listened to a recommended song on Spotify, or watched a recommended movie on Netflix, or purchased something with a credit card online, you've interacted with AI. Generative AI is artificial intelligence that creates or generates content similar to data on which it was trained. This includes text, images, music, and other media. The artificial intelligence model learns from a vast array of data sets to mimic the style, structure, and content of their inputs, producing original outputs that can seem human-like in quality and creativity. It's important to note, though, that they're not. Large language models, or LLMs, like Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, or OpenAI's ChatGPT are all generative AI models that use everyday language versus code to facilitate communication. The ability to use natural language to prompt these models has made this technology accessible beyond technologists and programmers to everyone, which is why it's become such a big deal so quickly.
You may have heard the term neural network to describe how large language models work. Neurals are essentially computer systems that use the brain as a model to recognize patterns and make predictions based upon parameters they've been given. As large language models get more and more data, they're able to learn from that data and improve their outputs. Unlike traditional programming, where rules are explicitly coded by humans, generative AI models learn the rules by analyzing data, enabling them to produce outputs we've never explicitly taught them.
One of the tensions we hear from school systems is that while there's very little guidance for school systems on generative AI, situations requiring school system intervention are becoming increasingly common. Only 6 states have released guidelines of any kind. This leaves school systems to figure out on their own how they'll take advantage of possibilities and mitigate risk. In the realm of learning, generative AI offers really promising applications. It can tailor educational content to fit the unique needs of each student, provide on-demand tutoring and feedback, and even generate interactive learning scenarios. This personalization can revolutionize how students engage with material, catering to different learning preferences and paces. Beyond learning, generative AI can significantly enhance operational efficiency within our school systems. We know from research that only 47% of the teacher workday is spent working directly with students. AI can free up valuable time for educators as well so they can focus on what they do best, which is working with students. From automating administrative tasks like scheduling to optimizing resource allocation and analyzing performance data, schools can operate more smoothly, allocate resources more effectively, and make informed decisions that benefit the entire educational community. However, integrating generative AI isn't without its challenges. We must navigate concerns around privacy, ensuring student data is protected. Many of the programs and software school systems use have now embedded generative AI into their platforms with very little transparency about how student data are being used and how their models are being trained. Additionally, the models are only as good as their data. If we use data prompts that are biased, we'll receive biased outputs in response. Bias and representation remain at the forefront of risks around generative AI. School districts have had a range of responses to generative AI. Access, as well as the skills and mindsets with which students are equipped with generative AI, represent a new digital divide school systems will need to address. And of course, organizations must consider the cost, both financial and in terms of human capital, to make AI integration sustainable and effective. This will look different for each unique organization, so planning must begin at the cabinet level with careful consideration of how to implement in the most effective way forward possible. Despite these challenges, the potential of generative AI to improve student outcomes is immense. By offering more personalized and engaging learning experiences, we can help students achieve better results, develop a deeper application of learning, and foster a lifelong love of learning as well.
It's easy to look at generative AI and think about technology. At ALP, we believe that embracing the possibilities and understanding of generative AI and taking actions to mitigate risk is also about organizational change. For over a decade, Advanced Learning Partnerships has supported North American school systems as they navigate learning in digital ecosystems. While much of that support has included working directly with frontline educators and educational leaders, it has also included everything from job embedded coaching to strategic planning and systems level change efforts. For the last year and a half, we have been deeply involved with system level executive coaching around generative AI. Generative AI and emerging technologies require deep learning and planning to support systems level change. It is possible to address this change just on the learning side or just on the operation side. But if we have learned anything from supporting school systems, change happens when people and teams lead it collaboratively. In recent years, there have been two catalysts for change that have caused educators within the system to be a force for innovation and change rather than recipients of it. The first was the pandemic, which demanded we provide access to remote learning. The second, the introduction of generative AI. Both scenarios found school districts with immediate needs from learning to operations with very little guidance from state, federal, and governing bodies. Both situations have brought with them a flood of unvetted and unvalidated solutions and the need to navigate circumstances never before chartered by learning communities. While working with school districts across North America, Advanced Learning Partnerships has prioritized two things in our generative AI related work: systems and communities of practice. Since January 2023, we have utilized a 4-day executive consulting model that provides district level leaders with a facilitated experience that builds collective capacity around critical literacy and fluency to engage in strategic goal setting and tactical execution. Participants who engage in these sessions foster a deep understanding of generative AI and will begin to integrate it into their strategy using the appreciative inquiry model. Each session is typically 3 to 5 weeks apart in order to provide participants with valuable time to apply their new learning in practical, scaffold learning experiences that build individual and collective capacity over the course of the 4-day process. We also brought a consortium of school districts together to meet monthly since the fall of 2023 in service of shared learning and solution finding. The Generative AI Cohort 1.0 has rapidly become a vibrant community of practice, focusing on shared knowledge, iterating around promising practices and policies, as well as a source of professional networking. We would like to leave you with a video from one of our cohort districts, Ottawa Catholic School Board. Many thanks to Ottawa Catholic for being willing to share their progress on the generative AI journey. We hope to see you at DLAC for our panel discussion, community of practice session, and table talk.
I'm Jeff Edwards. I'm the Superintendent of Learning Technologies at the Ottawa Catholic School Board. We've been very excited about the advent of artificial intelligence. Our board has always been very innovative and very open to new technologies. So we couldn't be more excited about the prospects. On the other side, we've always been cautious about what any new technology can mean. We've had a long-standing program called Samaritans on the Digital Road, where we talk about things such as cyber hygiene, password protection, and then that moved into the humane use of digital. And from there, we see a natural progression into AI and its uses. I think it's a sea change that we're going to see in terms of education. My big hope is that it's finally the way in which we can provide full access to education for all students. I worry about kids with who are multi-language learners, kids with significant learning challenges, and the opportunity where now they can feel good about their work, feel stronger with self-advocacy. That's a big strength, and I think it's going to come from the teachers, who are going to see increased workflow, productivity, and the ability to create units and lessons very quickly so they can get to the business of teaching and form those relationships with students. Well, we know that under 13, there's going to be some challenges for kids to be using artificial intelligence, except in any of our applications that have walled gardens. So we know that that's the case, and we need to teach them critical thinking ideas even at a young age. Once we get to high school, then we can go full force so that students understand all of the challenges and opportunities, because we know they're going to be using these tools in the world of work. And so we want to make sure that our graduates are prepared for that. One big thing I'm really looking forward to is that a graduate should now have those critical thinking tools to know what's true. So they're going to have to learn those analysis skills about what is real and what is fake. And I think concurrently with learning how to use the tools, we're going to be teaching them that and creating a whole new generation of students that are far superior than what we've seen before. I think the biggest challenge is always going to be scaling in a number of ways. Professional development for teachers to make sure they're using these tools effectively in terms of workflow and performance is going to be a challenge. But things change so rapidly too. So as we present some of the opportunities, new ones will come along, and we need to get that out to the system. We talk a lot about digital equity at the Ottawa Catholic School Board. We know that because of socioeconomic challenges, not every kid has access to things like devices or an effective internet, and also just plain access to education. It's different for a kid with all the advantages to access education versus somebody with a learning challenge. So when you have tools that will augment their experience, those kids will be able to access, using OCR technologies, using AI technologies, using personalization and differentiation technologies, which are wicked problems that we've never been able to solve. I think the next 10 years, we're going to see that those kids can access education so much faster. And that's going to be the real sea change. That's going to be the opportunity.
So this last slide includes the next sessions that we have, or that will be presenting at DLAC. There's a panel, a workshop session, and then a table talk. We will look forward to seeing you there. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you want to talk more about generative AI and or what support might look like in your community.